I'm going to read a poem from my 2010 collection, Beautiful Country. The poem is called American Fear. There was a company back in those days, in the late aughts, called American Fear that sold T-shirts mostly, T-shirts and sweatshirts, and marketed their wares to what they called on their website clothing for the disaffected youth culture. The poem has an epigraph from Robert Frost's poem, The Gift Outright. Such as we were, we gave ourselves outright. American Fear. What it is a company selling clothing for the disaffected youth culture. T-shirts and sweatshirts, mostly black. Someone's marketing vision for a new world. A 21st century Henry. You can have any color you want so long as it's black. Ford. That old-time anti-Semite, his once nearly bankrupt namesake corporation supplanted by this other. A button on the website reads, "Ready to order fear." But everywhere you look, it's free. Fear of wolves, bulls, and bears, fear of the sun, fear of that one or this one, fear that all it takes is one. Storm fear, house fear, fear of frost. Fear of gravity is barophobia, but there's also Cape Fear, Camp Fear, and Fear Mountain. You can visit those. There's fear of God, fear of the odd, fear of night, fear of air. Fear of hair is chatophobia. Eleutherophobia is fear of freedom. There's first encounter assault recon, a survival horror first-person shooter developed by Monolith Productions and published by Vivendi, a video game. A generation's modus vivendi, a way of living in which we agree to disagree violently. Ephebophobia is the fear of teenagers. Melanophobia, fear of the color black. Calaginophobia, fear of beautiful women. And anthrophobia, fear of flowers. You can spend hours on a list like this. Pantophobia is the fear of everything. After 230-odd years, the Republic crawls through its slow-motion youth, democracy requiring not only equality, but a vast sameness many fear. As some fear guns and others fear their guns will be taken away, their beautiful guns, poetry in them, shining assemblages of articulate parts in which ammo is the main idea. Consider the idea that a thing can be beyond perfection, as in a more perfect union, as in the sky and its endlessness. Astrophobia, that's called, the fear of stars and celestial space. As for fear of oblivion, there's no word for it. Come home late, Robert Frost rattled the key in the lock and left the door open until a light was on, a way of allowing what was inside out. Later, on his farmhouse porch, Frost, trembling, frightened of the dark, a shotgun in his hands. He thought he could talk Khrushchev into nuclear disarmament. Nucleomytophobia, bomb fear. And he sulked because JFK didn't call him back. The fear of poetry is metrophobia, and mellophobes fear music, cringing at the ball game through God Bless America. Regarding the disaffected, the OED suggests they lack, first of all, affection. Put that with logophobia, the fear of words, and philophobia, the fear of love. Parthenophobia is the fear of virgin girls. WTF is internet slang and the initials of the World Taekwondo Federation, member of the International Olympic Committee. Why is there no word for the fear of committees, which are so much to be feared? Germany, and fear of Germany, is tutophobia. Vestophobia is the fear of clothing. The fear of flags is vexophobia. On American Fear's logo, you can find the flag stripes resembling a barcode. Gringophobia is the fear of Americans, the ones who fear America ends far north of Tierra del Fuego. Fear of a white god is leucotheophobia. A snow clone is a cliche or phrasal template, multi-use, customizable, instantly recognizable, time-worn, and open to an array of variants, as in WWHFD. What would Henry Ford do? American Fear's best-selling design, a mandible-less skull enwreathed by bullets, bunting, and feathers on a base of 50s befinned bombs. There is no word for the fear of growing up, though Jurassicophobia is the fear of growing old, and old men fear not how others might read them by their clothes. Kings wear robes, and senators wear suits. The word senator comes from the Latin senex, meaning old man, and gerontophobia is the fear of old people. Chronophobia is the fear of time. Some old men do not wear t-shirts because putting one on can be exhausting and taking it off worse. Imagine fearing a shirt. Why is there a word like bathysiderodromophobia? Subways are beautiful in their tunnels and troughs, their soiled palatial stations. Go in fear of abstractions, Pound said. He suffered not from metrophobia, but from madness. To fear in Italian is temere. What thou lovest well remains, the rest is dross, wrote Pound. Better to go down dignified with boughten friendship at your side than none at all, wrote Frost. He had a lover's quarrel with the world. Among American Fear's other shirt designs, one called Your Pretty Deathbed. A young woman, her wrists slashed, looking asleep and covered by the stars and stripes. There is no word for the fear our daughters will commit suicide beneath a patriotic blanket. Robert Frost's son, Carroll, shot himself with a deer rifle on October 9, 1940. I took the wrong way with him, wrote Frost, who would outlive all but 2 of his 6 children. A citizen opposes the reintroduction of gray wolves to the American wilderness because they are Canadian, as though they might harbor within their genes a disinclination for revolution and a soft spot for the Queen. Freddie Mercury was a gay British genius, and homophobic sports teams all across the nation sing his We Are the Champions. He's number 50 among the 100 greatest Britons, 4 slots ahead of George Harrison, 12 ahead of Jane Austen, and a whopping 23 in front of Geoffrey Chaucer. Ronald Reagan is number 1 on the American list. The only poet in the top 25 is Muhammad Ali, who comes in just above Rosa Parks, but well behind Elvis, whose pelvis was censored from the television screen. No word for the fear of free speech. But a man was not allowed to board a flight at JFK because his T-shirt in Arabic and English read, "We will not be silent." American Fear's shirts will not alarm the Transportation Security Administration, also called the TSA. The fear of silence is sedatophobia. The TSA is also the Tourette Syndrome Association, and based on Boswell's descriptions, it is theorized that Samuel Johnson suffered from the malady, making frequent odd grunts and muttering under his breath, "Two, two, two," meaning also, and yes, and more, meaning many, meaning he meant to know all the words, and the problem with all is everything, all men, all women, all words, all fears. This beautiful, fearful, and fearsome country, such as it is, such as it might yet someday become.